Did going to work in football change that in any way, for good or for bad?
It did, in a bad way.
If there was an answer to what is right and what is wrong, but there isn't, and you have to just navigate it in your own way, what is the lesser of the two evils in that case? Everyone is showing the best moments, their highlight reel online. They're not showing the negative side of it, which is, I'm burnt out right now, I'm struggling.
You have to channel that in the right way, and you have to be able to say no, have to be able to be serious at times, can't always be that jokey person. I was like, that's amazing, let's do it. Let's do it, like, it's amazing. I think like it became a bit of a piss take.
Do you look at your phone first thing in the morning?
No.
Tom, thanks for joining me on the Ambitious Minds podcast.
No worries. No worries at all.
Looking forward to getting into it. And let's start off actually, because you used to work in the sports, well, you still do work in the sports industry, but you worked for football clubs and rugby clubs, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you've now started your own business. But maybe tell us about the journey into sport in the first instance, and then we'll go into the rest after.
So since I can remember, like any young boy, wanted to be a professional footballer. Genuinely, until I was about 17, 18, I kept that dream alive.
Were you good enough?
I was all right. If you ask my mates, they were like, he was definitely like top 5, top 10% of the team, but never good, like never that good. Like when you see people dedicate their entire lives, like have raw ability and raw talent, but then actually they've got that dedication to back it up. So went to university, I studied marketing, and it was at university I had this live seminar with AFC Bournemouth. So the commercial director of AFC Bournemouth came in, and at the time they were in League Two, and he said, we need to get more students into the ground. And like as a student, it was unbelievable, not only to be working for AFC Bournemouth, like I'm obviously a huge football fan and sports fan, but to be able to work on like a live project that could make a difference. And I like vividly remember him standing up, and I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Like he was the commercial director of AFC Bournemouth. What a cool job. I was like, if I'm not going to be a professional footballer, I'm going to work in football or sport. So went through that. Obviously finished university, and during my final year of university I was applying for sports jobs, and I saw this job come up, which was a marketing executive job at MCC. I've been going to Lord's Cricket Ground my entire life, my grandpa. I know about it, I know how prestigious that brand is, I know how iconic it is, and I put my kind of cover letter together, as you do, put my application through, never expected to hear back from them in my wildest dreams. Not even a grad position, it was like marketing exec, obviously going straight into quite a small marketing team, and managed to get the role. And since then, never looked back really. Like it genuinely was a dream job to be able to go into, to be able to work on a brand, in a brand like that, and to be able to learn in such a small marketing team. Like they were looking to bring graduates on, so they're seen as quite a stuffy old members club, like egg and bacon ties, egg and bacon suits. Honestly, the stories I've got my time there of the members, but they were really trying to bring a younger crowd through the doors. So it was when T20 was obviously getting bigger and bigger, one day cricket, and Surrey, the Oval, were unbelievable at delivering that product, and Lords wanted to get better, and they were bringing graduates on board. They just made one recruit, and then I was their second recruit. And yeah, it was amazing. It was a small marketing team. We had a lot of ability to pivot quickly and to be able to work quickly. Not huge budgets, but big enough to be able to make a difference. And I was working on stuff straight away, not like a normal grad job where you're kind of kept at the periphery. Like you're straight in, you're working on so I did content for the Ashes test series. You're working on ticketing campaigns for Middlesex, but then also for one-day internationals and test matches. You're working on the members club, like so you're working on the branding around MCC. They've got old tennis, like a real tennis club in their pavilion. They've got squash courts, like all for members.
Lords do?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah, not a lot of people know that.
No, I didn't know
Have you heard about real tennis?
No.
Like it's a completely different sport than tennis that we know. It's mind-blowing.
What is it?
It's quite an old-fashioned sport. I don't know the rules in and out, but like obviously it's a very traditional form of tennis. Like obviously everyone wearing their whites. You can play off the sides. It's a heavier ball, smaller court, almost like a little bit like paddle.
I was going to say it sounds a bit like paddle.
Yeah, but they had one in the back of the pavilion.
Did they?
Yeah. And they had squash courts, and it was just yeah, it was a crazy world to be in for your first job. Like,
Yeah.
very fortunate. Loved my job, loved working in the sports industry. So that was my entrance in, really. And I just felt so fortunate. Obviously, I believe that there's a little bit of luck with things like that. Like, you put your CV out there and just somebody saw something in me. And it was Ellie Cockcroft, actually. Give her a little shout out. She was my manager at the time, and she took the gamble on me with a guy called Nick Stroudley, and they saw something in me, and I hope that I repaid them. And it was the best entrance to the sports industry I could ever have imagined.
And what did you do after that?
So yeah, I was so comfortable. Never wanted to leave, was not looking for jobs. Like, I've just told you how fortunate I felt, and I wanted to repay that trust that they had in me. So I think I worked 2 or 3 summers. So I did a Ashes test series. We did about 2-3 summers of T20, Middlesex T20 stuff. And then it was at that time that I received a direct message on LinkedIn. Believe it or not, like LinkedIn, like, it's got such a huge amount of power, LinkedIn, if you use it correctly, from the head of fan engagement at Chelsea Football Club. Wow. Saying, I think you'd be perfect for this role. I don't know how, I'm actually friends with him, and I've never asked him how many messages he sent just like that. He probably sent about 200 to 300, but it makes you feel really special, right? You're headhunted.
I bet you say it's all the girls.
Yeah. And I've told you, like, football's my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm obsessed with it. And I've always been somebody that's very good at stuff that I'm passionate about. If I don't have that passion, I find it hard to retain concentration.
Yeah.
And I knew I would be good at that job, and told my boss almost immediately, like, as soon as I got offered the role, like, that was it. I was going.
Head's been turned.
Like, genuinely, like, head was turned instantly. Chelsea were doing so well at the time.
Yeah.
Like,
so who was manager at the time?
I joined during the Antonio Conte years. So his first season, I joined at the beginning of the season. He obviously won the league in his first season. It was just after Mourinho's second spell.
Yeah.
And it was at the time during the Roman Abramovich era. Yeah. Budgets were huge. Like, there was so much opportunity at that football club. And I was so thankful that he messaged me, responded straight back. I mean, almost within minutes, like, yes, where do I need to be? What do I need to do? So yeah, unbelievably thankful for MCC. Like, they really allowed me to gain my confidence. They trusted me. I had such access to the whole marketing team, whereas Chelsea was so specialist. So they had 4 different divisions within their marketing team, which obviously to me was mind-blowing. We were a 3-person marketing team at MCC. So they had product, so basically tickets, retail, meetings and events, like whatever you can sell. There was a product team that supported the sales team. Within marketing, then there was fan engagement, there was brand, and then there was digital. And I was part of the fan engagement team at the time, which was so cool because it enabled you to get involved in some really engaging projects, whether that was working with influencers, working with partners to look at parallel markets of how do we grow the Chelsea fan base using those parallel markets, whether that be fashion, entertainment, gaming. Like, they were looking at marketing a completely different way to the MCC. Like, my eyes at the time were like, you know, when you're there, you're passionate, you're engaged, like, everything's like, I was in like a flow state at that point, and I just saw so much opportunity. My mind was a sponge. I was learning from some of the, I mean, in my opinion, some of the like brightest minds in the industry. So they just hired somebody from fashion, from Nike, who went on to work like marketing director at Reese, and like just hiring different people with very different skill sets rather than just a traditional sports marketeer.
Yeah.
And like, just like anyone's journey, right? You have different points and different people that you learn from, and you try to just be a sponge and try to add as much as you possibly can. So that was my next step. And it's just unbelievably cool, right? Like, I was like, whilst it was great being in the long room watching England walk out on a like Ashes test match, for me, working for Chelsea and being pitch side at some of the most important games there were, like, I worked Chelsea Barcelona.
Wow.
I'll never forget, like we had so much going on that day. Like we had Marvin Humes doing a DJ set outside Stamford Bridge. Like you had Q&As taking place. Like we were working with influencers. And then I remember we were doing a halftime reveal of Michael Ballack and Idiger Johnson. And they were both watching in the owner's box. And the owner's box is complete other side of Stamford Bridge in the tunnel. So I had to go round and they were like, well, we're going to wait until the halftime whistle. Like, and obviously I'm presenting them at halftime. Like, so you basically introduce them to Neil Barnett or Lee Parker, whoever the PA was at the time. And they were like, no, we're going to wait till halftime. So I had to wait, grab them, and I'm running around Stamford Bridge, genuinely like two legends, like a World Cup winner. And like there's so many pinch yourself moments like that. And then we presented them, and then Idiger Johnson was ex-Barcelona. Yeah. So he wanted to stay and obviously be with all the Barcelona players, like see all the Barcelona players come out for the second half. Like, and you're there and you're seeing people like Lionel Messi, Xavi, Iniesta. Like, just as a football fan, to be in environments like that and to be able to go to Cobham, be around the first team and just see like high performing teams. How are they acting? What are their habits? And be around not only actually the team, I would go as far to say as all the staff as well. They're all high performers in their own right. Being around that makes you better. Like, I'm a big believer if you place yourself around good people, high performing people, that will rub off on you.
You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly that. Like, try to surround yourself with ambitious people.
Yeah.
And you will find yourself being very ambitious.
Definitely. And that was kind of one of the reasons why this podcast started in the first place, because I'm surrounded by ambitious and successful people in my job, but also like friends and family, like who are all doing really cool things. And that's not a fluke. Like, that didn't just happen. Like, okay, family, you can't choose your family, etc. But your friends, I've curated my group of friends over the years. Like, they're all people that are going in the same direction I want to be going in.
Yeah.
And you're learning from them. They challenge you and all these sorts of things.
Yeah, exactly that. I love things like that, because you do have to, it's a horrible thing to say, but like, some people are quite toxic. I'm sure you've come across it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you get engrossed into that lifestyle and you get engrossed into that kind of mess and toxicity, like it will rub off on you. So it's trying to just sometimes keep a distance and be really careful and make good choices about who you spend time with.
You, from the moment I met you, are one of the happiest, positive people I've ever come across.
I get that a lot.
I can understand. Yeah. Do you have any room for toxic people in your life?
No.
You can't. I guess if
you have to be quite cutthroat.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course, there's moments where I'm down and I'm dealing with people going through really bad stuff. I've gone through that myself, but I have to be able to spend people, and this is how I am as a person. If you're going through that, rather than just letting it sink in and almost just like, it's a really difficult thing to describe. Rather than almost like feeling sorry for yourself. Mm-hmm. There's a word for it. It will come to me. I immediately think, what's the barrier? How can I overcome it? And if I can't overcome it, how can I live with it? So like, this is who I am as a person. I've got to stay true to that. And as soon as you, and I'm sure if I was surrounding myself with people who did feel sorry for themselves and weren't positive and had a very negative victim mindset, maybe I would become that person. Like, we talked about it rubbing off, but for me, like, I have to move quickly. Yeah. And because you're moving so quickly, like, who are you going to spend your time with and how can you help them? But it's trying to spend time with positivity and also trying to like have that impact on the world. Like, if you're positive and you're kind and you're genuine and you're passionate, that will rub off on other people. And I'm a big believer in just how important that is in teams, and whether that team is your family, whether that team is at work, whether that team is a sports team, like, it will rub off on them. So just trying as hard as you can. It's difficult at times, but to adopt that positive mindset.
Do you think that's what you said earlier on, that you applied for like the MCC role and then somebody took a risk on you or whatever? But were you like this as well when you were younger? And like, did you have the same level of positivity? And like when you walked into a room, like people can sort of feel it. Like I when I first met you, I was like, this guy is. You want to spend more time around you simply because you have an energy about you. And if you were like that as a 21-year-old leaving university, applying for jobs, and as long as you get in front of somebody, you're like, well, I've got confidence in myself right now that if I can get in front of somebody, that they will like me by the end of this meeting.
Yeah. I think I've always been like it. I was naively positive to start off with. And I think that turns you into a bit of a yes person.
Okay, interesting.
So like an example, I had a work experience was part of my degree. And I did work experience, and I remember senior people at that company always said, "Is everything amazing to you, Tom?" I was like, "That's amazing. Let's do it. Let's do it. Like, it's amazing." I think like it became a bit of a piss take. And like I always have been a very positive person, but when it came to business, you have to channel that in the right way. And you have to be able to say no, have to be able to be serious at times, can't always be that jokey person. But yeah, in answer to your question, I have always been like it, but I channel it in a very different way now. But yeah, energy is really important to me. And I feel like I'm a good reader of people. Like I'm able to read people quite well. And to me, it's all down to energy. Like I'm sure you've interviewed so many people in your life, like same as me. I don't really look at grades. Like I know there's jobs that you need to, of course, like medical, finance, stuff like that. You need the right degrees and the right grades. But for me, it's much more about energy. Like, am I going to be able to trust you? Yeah. And am I going to be able to spend an insane amount of time with you? And
more so than your wife?
Yeah.
If you go to a work for 8 hours a day, you will, other than the time you're sleeping, spend more of your waking day with your work colleagues and your partner.
Exactly that. And it rubs off on you, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, those two traits, and then also curiosity. So I think my energy comes from curiosity as well. Like being able to be like, can you do that? Like, am I able to do that? So yeah, very different attitude to I had 10 years ago, but I think I've always had the same energy, but just channeled in a different way.
Interesting. You're a massive football fan. Did going to work in football change that in any way, for good or for bad?
Yeah. So it did, in a bad way, actually. So I'm a massive Newcastle United fan.
What are you wearing, by the way, right now?
Yeah, they're so United socks that I got given at United Hospitality.
Oh, right.
And I needed black socks today, so I got black shoes, and I was in a rush because I've come back from Devon today.
I've just outed you.
Only pair. So you've outed me there. Yeah, they are Red Devils. They are Red Devil socks, which was a hospitality gift in one of their exec lounges. So yeah, I'm a massive Newcastle fan, and I felt like I didn't enjoy watching Newcastle as much when I worked for Chelsea because. So I have to be all in, and I was all in at Chelsea. And you do become a fan. I was talking to my old boss about this the other day. He was a big Spurs fan. A guy called John Scammell, the guy that DM'd me on LinkedIn. And he was saying that it is tough to deal with, like working for a sports club in a league, for a football club in a league where your team like competes with that team. And I just didn't enjoy Newcastle as much. Like I definitely didn't travel up there as much, but that's down to work. Like I was working pretty much every weekend. And I didn't watch football as much because you're completely engrossed into it.
Yeah, of course.
Like there was Sky Sports News playing in the Chelsea office 24/7. There was not one other channel playing. Like, so you're absolutely obsessed with your product. And I was obsessed with Chelsea at the time. You know everything about the players, you know everything about the club. You believe in the people at the club. So of course you have a sense of duty to that club. And I felt like I supported them, which was really weird. And obviously supporting United today. So my God, that's not good. I should have chosen the grey socks. I was going to...
Jay, shut up.
Yeah. Can you edit that out, please? Otherwise I'm going to get abused. So, especially when they beat us to the sign of Sesko. So that's still painful. So yeah, it did affect it in an adverse way, and I think that was part of the reason. We'll go on to talk about why I left Chelsea, but that was part of the reason why it was so nice to work in rugby after, because I would call myself a bit of a passive rugby fan. Like I like the game. I played it. I watch England. I wasn't obsessed with Bath, even though I'm from there. Probably looked at their results, but I'm not obsessed. Whereas, Premier League, like even now, like I watched it last night, watch pretty much most games over the weekend, watch match of the day both nights.
Yeah.
It's my alerts on my phone, like absolute obsession. And I think it became too much at Chelsea. And I think you also see the other side of the game. So I was part of the fan engagement team. You realise that season ticket holders and members are not the most important people to the football club, because you're trying to drive growth. I completely get it. Like, you don't want to act like their support and their money is a given, but at the same time, most football fans come back, right? It's your team.
And if not, there's somebody else waiting.
Yeah. So you have to drive exponential growth in new markets.
Yeah.
And that's what's the most important to them. So new eyeballs, new downloads of the app, new follows on social media. Like, how can you reach new people? I told you about the vertical markets, like parallel markets. And that takes the love out of the game a little bit, because you remember walking up the steps for the first time as a little kid. Like, I've been buying shirts and like being a member of Newcastle, and you realise that actually it's a commercial machine.
Yeah.
And a follow in India or China, or a download of an app in India or China, is actually more important than your support. But at the same time, you get it. Like, these are unbelievably successful businesses.
Yeah. I was very surprised to learn that the Premier League is the UK's biggest export. Of everything that this country has produces, the Premier League is the biggest export. And then when you actually hear it, you're like, okay, that makes sense.
But wow. Yeah. And you see it, like the impact it has. And it's just getting bigger.
Yeah.
Commercial machine. Like, you look at what's happening in the US now. Like, I was never part of the team that went out to Premier League run events all over the world, and part of the fan engagement team at Chelsea would go to events wherever those were. So they're in US sometimes, they're in Asia sometimes, and you'd see videos, just like anyone online, like how obsessed they are, like all over the world. Like, and it doesn't matter about timings. Like, people are waking up at 2 a.m. joining thousands of people in bars. The official supporters, like the official Chelsea supporters club of Vancouver or of Bangkok, and they are just as passionate and just as avid supporters as people that live on King's Road.
Yeah.
And to be able to see that, and you talk about quick growth, like 20 years ago, it was not like that. Like, it's all about what Arsene Wenger brought to the league. It's all about like the foreign talent that we brought into the Premier League and how well they've done and created global names for themselves. It's what rugby is desperately trying to achieve. Cricket's doing well now. I think rugby is quite a long way behind when it comes to like the power of a superstar.
But who was the lady that joined, was it Bristol Rugby?
Mayer.
Yes.
Yeah, she's amazing. So she went on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so she's incredible. Like, and people tell me, like, little girls and little boys were waiting behind an hour after final whistle, and she would walk around the whole stadium at Ashton Gate.
Because she literally, so she's a big TikTok influencer, as well as a American female rugby player, is that right?
Yeah.
And she moved to Bristol on like a temporary basis, maybe, and filling out the stadium each week. And it's like that, like the power of one individual to transform the sport. How many people were turning up to Bristol watching the women's play rugby before?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's insane.
Rugby needs more of that.
Yeah.
Like, I would, if you speak to a passive rugby fan now, or somebody that's loosely into the game, I bet you they couldn't name 20 players.
Well, and also you're seeing like very big established clubs London clubs have now gone into administration. It's
like I class Finn Russell, and this may be because I'm obviously a Bath supporter and used to work for Bath. I class him as a superstar.
He is a superstar, yeah.
Is he? Because if you look at his social media,
interesting,
compared to a footballer or even a cricketer, I think I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I think he's got about maybe 250,000 followers on Instagram, maybe a little bit less than that, compared to like even championship football players.
Yeah.
Like that blows my mind. Starting 10 of the Lions. Like, and he hasn't got a huge, like, obviously it's a great audience, like, and most people would absolutely love to have that platform. But in my opinion, he should have like a platform with millions and millions of followers.
I think he's the highest paid player in the rugby premiership,
in
right?
The Prem, yeah. Reported to be £1 million a year, like, which is a lot of money in rugby. And like, he's a maverick. And I feel like someone like that should have global stardom. Of course, a footballer would, like somebody with that ability on the pitch. So that's the challenge with rugby. How do you transform like the player profiles and to be able to get them to be global superstars? So Ilona Mayer, what an example that is. Like, it was incredible, like what she's done and what she did at Bristol. And it was only a short-term contract.
Was it actually short-term?
Yeah. But I think they gained a silly amount of followers. Like, so I think the women's team have got a separate account to the men's team at Bristol, and they became almost like on par in terms of very, very quickly.
Wow.
She was selling out Ashton Gate. So you see, and I think there's been a lot of research in football now about the power of a superstar. So there's a lot of teenagers now, like new generation, that will follow players, not teams.
Yes, this is huge.
Yeah. So obviously Ronaldo, maybe they would have been Juventus fans. Now they're Al Nassr fans. Like, it's such a weird thing to consider. Like, obviously just switching teams and switching. Like, and I know in America that's probably a bit more common because franchises move states.
Right.
So like and I still don't understand that. You can have a franchise that becomes absolutely embedded into that community, and then you can move the franchise to a different city. But yeah, the idea that now Mbappe, for instance, you could have PSG fans and now they're huge Madrid fans, whereas actually on the pitch they're huge competitors, both going for the Champions League, like, just shows like how fans and like this new generation of being completely obsessed and lack of attention span, almost you don't want to give 70, 80 years to a team, but you will give that to a player and almost like a brand on social media. It's bizarre to understand.
I think the world of influencers have completely changed this, haven't they? Like, now people are so, I mean, it's in the name, but influenced by individuals and what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're wearing, and they've got cult followings themselves. Yeah, which I find I've never really fully understood the whole influencer marketing side of things, because I'm not influenced by them, but I'm in the minority, I think, in that case.
Yeah, and in sport you're very lucky because it is authentic. 99% of the time it's authentic, right? So we used to try and find influencers that were Chelsea fans. And then do you send them the new top that you launched that week? Do you invite them to a new hospitality space that you've launched that season? Like, and it's genuinely authentic. They will cover their experience. Most of them weren't paid a penny. Like, it was a free experience or a free top or like,
because also the opportunity for them to be seen in the hospitality suite at Chelsea Football Club is also pretty special, right? So, and that's the power of Premier League football. Yeah. Is that both people are winning out of this,
and that's when it's done properly. Because you got authentic, almost like passion, and two brands are colliding and they're bringing new audiences and both benefit. Whereas what I don't like is when you see it as just a pure advertisement and it's not authentic, and that's when people switch off now. So when you see truly engaging and innovative marketing campaigns using influencers, if you can capture that authenticity, it's golden. And it will be way more than any ad you could put on the side of a road or whatever that, like, it's so powerful because they've got a cult following themselves who want to be like them, want to spend money in the ways that they spend money, and want to wear the same clothes that they wear.
Be seen in the same places.
Exactly. So it's and it's completely new. Love it or hate it, social media is not going anywhere.
No.
Try and use it to the best of your ability. I found that difficult. I don't know why. I just think you go from being a very private person to all of a sudden, and we haven't even got to the point of launching my own business yet, but yeah, all of a sudden trying to put yourself out there, but it needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I've seen how powerful it can be.
Is that in yourself or in others?
Everything. Like for me, I've seen how powerful it can be for me personally, away for business and away from business. Like privately, if you use it in the right way and you try to just be honest, and I know I'm going to use the same word again, but be authentic, people will watch, people will listen. But yeah, there's many ways that it can be used in a really negative way.
Yeah.
And I think people talk about like now, like doom scrolling, and you work, like my brother's a school teacher, and my God, he tells me some horrible stories about it, and you can't police that. Like there was once a day where if you got bullied in the playground, you felt like your home life, like I was very fortunate I didn't get bullied, but like heard stories from people who were, you felt like your home life was your escapism. Whereas now with
of course, yeah.
With that, there's no escapism. Like you go home and there's still so many avenues that somebody can get to you, whereas that just wasn't around when we were growing up. So
you feel very privileged as well to have gone through that, but you've got kids now, haven't you? So how does that influence your approach to social media or phones or whatever with your kids?
Yeah, so it's scary. It's a really scary place, actually. And we thought about it and we've talked about it a lot. You've just got to try and be open and honest with them. So for me, like if I'm going to tell them not to go on their iPad after a certain time, they don't have iPads, but let's just say for an example, if I say this is family time, we're at the dinner table, and then I all of a sudden say I've got a work call or I've got to respond to this email, it's hypocritical. So I think you've just got to be able to be honest and just understand that you're a role model for them. So as much as you can, try and display positive traits when it comes to devices and social media. And also when it comes to posting, like again, try to be honest about your lifestyle. So like it's a really tricky one. Somebody once said to me, like social media is like, so in your front room at your house, you've got images around, like, so you've got photo frames with photos in. Somebody said, well, that's what social media is. You choose your best moments and you post them just like you would in your front room. Like, so obviously 60, 70 years ago, when you got invited around someone's house, like that would be in your front room. But I didn't realize you went to Paris. Oh, that's amazing. That's your wedding photo. Nice moments, happy smiles. Like that's what social media is now, but it's so much more instant. And there's stories and it's live. And if you try and portray a life that you're not living, that can be really dangerous. So for me, like on my social media, when we'll go on to talk about my son, like I've recently put a lot of stuff up about my son's syndrome and struggles that he's going through, because that's authentic. Like that's what my wife and I are going through. I can't post like photos of us always smiling and having an amazing time without explaining to people who care about our life, like that there are really tough times and we're going through this at the same time. So yeah, it's just trying to be as honest as you can, but I don't think anyone's doing it perfectly. Everyone's just trying to navigate the best they can.
There is no playbook for it. That's the problem. Like,
yeah,
if there was an answer to what is right and what is wrong, but there isn't, and you have to just navigate it in your own way. Like I was listening to, you may have even seen this yourself, like a Robbie Williams quote, a clip from the weekend, and he was saying that there is no way that he would let his kids have a phone because he understands how toxic this thing in his hand is. Like he's addicted to it. It makes him angry. It ruins his day. And he's like, how on earth can I give that to a 7-year-old or a 12-year-old? Like that is abuse. And then, but that's one person's but then I've not got kids. You do. In my head, I'm like, if I had kids, this is how I would like this to play out. So I'd prefer they didn't have iPads. But then I've seen people who have young kids and they want to go out for dinner and they bring out the iPad because it helps to placate the kids. And I'm like, what's on the other side of that? It could be a screaming child in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And so what is the lesser of the two evils in that case? Like, is it, getting the kid to be happy, in inverted commas, and distracted, or crying and screaming in a restaurant if you want to go out and have some dinner yourselves as well. And again, no one knows what the right or wrong answer is. People will judge, but no one knows what you should be doing. And you're all just, everyone's navigating it in their own little way, isn't it?
It's crazy. Yeah, there's no right or wrong. I guess there's also an element of good, like when it comes to technology or TVs, like it's escapism. And I think after like a busy day, like, you know, when you watch that film and you have an hour and a half where you're just not thinking of anything else other than that film, like that's like schools are mental for kids. Like there's so much going on. It's all so new to them. They're away from their family for the first time. Like I'm talking like reception year 1, year 2. Like it's not a bad thing if they switch off for half an hour and just watch some TV and just have a bit of calm time. So yeah, I'd never be one of those judgmental parents who's like, oh my gosh, you seen what they're doing? But yeah, I understand the power of it, good and bad. So it's just trying to navigate and try and, when it comes to posting, so a lot of people are followers, but not a lot of people are actually posters. It's one thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
One thing I find. So I think if you are one of those people that are posting, regardless of whether you've got a platform or not, whether it's 10 followers or like 100 or 1,000 or 100,000, like try to be honest in what you're posting. And I think just maybe, maybe show a little bit more of like what your life is really like behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think that's the most important thing.
And it's hard to do. And I've actually tried to use a podcast recently as a way to be a bit more vulnerable, talk about some of the struggles, because like a lot of the people that sit in these chairs, they come in and they talk about how like they've built their business up or they've had a successful career, whatever. You don't really see like the darker side to it. So it's my job to try to like tease that side of it out, because people want to talk about how well they're doing. It's a good way to promote your business or what you're doing because of the personal brand side of things. However, the best feedback I've had in recent episodes have been the ones like a guy called Bradley Green came on talking about burnout. That has had so much positive feedback. And I think it's because people don't talk about it. And that's going back to the authenticity part. Like everyone is showing the best moments, their highlight reel online. They're not showing the negative side of it, which is I'm burnt out right now. I'm struggling. So for someone to come on and say that, so many people have commented or messaged me separately being like, thanks for doing that, because like kind of like the cliche, like we're not alone. We're going through that too. And it's nice to hear someone come on and talk refreshingly and openly about how difficult life is. And like, I mean, you can talk about what you want, but like you've gone through, like, as you've alluded to, like a really, really tragic and difficult thing to navigate at such a young age. But you post about it and you're honest about it and these sorts of things. You've got to show that side of it.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. I think like when it comes to like, if we start with being a business owner, so one thing I've said to my wife, and she'll definitely testify to this, like I spend more time with my family as a business owner because you don't have the rigid 9 to 5, be in an office, be here during the weekend, but I'm less present.
Yeah, okay.
So spend more time with them, but I'm less present. And I'm working on that. Again, like everyone's trying to do the best they can, like, because it really doesn't stop as a business owner. Like you've got salaries to pay at the end of the month.
Yeah.
You've got so much stuff that can go wrong. And you've got to be able to just keep moving quickly. And whether that's at 9 p.m, worrying about your accounts, like, or your self-assessment, or whether it's at 4 a.m. dealing with something that's happening in America because a client's trying to get their tickets and can't get, like, whatever it is, like, it genuinely is like a non-stop lifestyle. And I wouldn't, if somebody isn't ready for that, I would never tell them to start a business.
Really?
So I think you do need to be a certain personality to be a business owner, personally. And the ones that I know are very similar to me, and do have that passion and do have that relentless desire to be better and to grow. When it comes to kind of my situation, so and you'll be able to see on my social media, like obviously you've probably seen it. we've got 3 kids. We are very, very blessed, have an amazing family. But our middle boy, so Jensen, who's 4 years old, has been diagnosed with Phelan-McDermid syndrome and Ring 22. So there's 3,000 people in the world that have Phelan-McDermid syndrome, and there's about 300 people in the world that have his exact diagnosis, which is crazy, right? Like, and he had so much to deal with, even from like the very outset, like day 1, day 2 of his life. But there was a point in time where I didn't think that he would survive. So he was on life support for weeks in Bristol. And whatever we've dealt with after that, for me, I'm still blessed that he's here and he's smiling. Like, we've just come back from Devon. He was loving his time on the beach. Like, just to be able to see him go through life and develop, albeit slower than most children. And he'll have a very different trajectory than most people, but like, we're here for him and we're trying to do as much we possibly can. So I talked about the good of social media. Recently took on a challenge where I ran 9 marathons in 9 days. I did that because I wanted to capture attention, and once you've got attention, people will listen. So you need to do a stupid challenge, annoyingly, to be able to capture that attention. And then I've used that to try and raise awareness of this syndrome. Of course, so many people don't know about it. And actually, the charity that I did it for believes so many more people in the world have this.
Really?
Yeah. So we were very fortunate because of the struggles that Jensen went through at the beginning of his life. He had every test imaginable, which included a genetics test, which showed that he had a deletion on his 22nd chromosome. I won't go into the scientific details around it. It's very complex, but effectively, they believe a lot of people that are non-verbal and have global development delays that are diagnosed with autism may have Phelan-McDermid syndrome.
Oh, right.
And it could, and just a genetics test is like 50 or 100 quid.
Wow.
Like, not a huge amount of money, but they're trying to urge as many people impacted by autism and are showing those traits and development delays that this could be their diagnosis. And we've been very fortunate that we got it very quickly. Some people go through their whole lives trying to get a diagnosis, and it does open up doors of which you wouldn't have had open if you didn't have that. So yeah, that was a long way of answering your question, but effectively, like, yeah, I've really seen the positives of social media when it comes down to that, because I was authentic. I tried to be authentic. I tried to show vulnerability. I talked about everything that we've gone through, because if I found somebody like me when we got that diagnosis, who was talking that openly and had a really nice family lifestyle and was trying to bring about positive change, I would have felt a lot better when I was scrolling in the hospital trying to understand what on earth Phelan-McDermid syndrome is.
Was there just no information out there as well?
Yeah, like...
So even if you typed it into, let's just say, Instagram or TikTok or Google or whatever, trying to get any sort of like information or hearing from people that are going through this?
So you can find out about it through charities. So there's a Phelan-McDermid syndrome foundation, and then CureShank, who I did the challenge for. But to give you an example, our head paediatrician in Bath, without calling anybody out, but yeah, our head paediatrician in Bath like Googled what Phelan-McDermid syndrome was right in front of us as we were getting the diagnosis.
Wow.
And was like, I've never come across this. I can't give you really any guidelines or any advice. Like, this is what you've got to go and reach out to. Like, so we've spent thousands speaking to specialists and trying to get answers because they're difficult to come by. So hopefully by raising a lot more awareness and one day trying to find a cure, somebody getting that same diagnosis will be a little bit more informed and have maybe somebody that could help them at the same time.
We've not even spoke about the business yet, but I wanted to try and like bring these two things together. But you've started a business and you're growing a business, whilst also in your private life, you're also having to deal with probably more than the average parent, I'd say, in what you're going through. So has that been a challenge to actually try to do those two things together? 4-year-old son who needs sort of more regular hospital contacts and that sort of stuff. whilst also growing a business, employing people and doing that sort of stuff?
Yeah. Well, I said I needed it fast paced. It's genuinely mental. Like, our lives are crazy. But I'm very, very fortunate that my wife is at home with them and has almost become his like full-time carer. Like, there are so many appointments, like, and there is so much more we could be doing. Like, I wouldn't even know how we could have done this with both of us being in full-time employment. So she's incredible. Like, I've a short answer to that question is I couldn't do it without her.
Yeah.
But trying to balance everything, I talked about like trying to be more present. Like, for me, you know what it's like. You're in and out the door, you're going to meetings, you're thinking about the next day, you're constantly switched on, and it's trying to just when you're at home and when you're with them and you're in parent mode and husband mode, like just trying to be there and present, and add something rather than just being vacant and responding to your emails, which is so easy to do. Like, so,
and that stuff will never go away either, will it?
No.
Like, there will always be emails to do. There will always be an emergency that needs to be sorted.
Yeah, well, it's like anything. It's like training. Like, you go to the gym every day because you want to get better. I am training to be more present at home. And
do you also have time to go to the gym as well?
Yeah, so running, gym, without exercise, I wouldn't function. I would burn out.
What time do you wake up?
5, 5:30, depending on when my children are up. Mostly 5, 5:30. Now I'll go to bed. Usually, like, my wife will go to bed and I'll respond to emails and get back on the laptop. Yeah.
Do you just wish sometimes that the day was more than 24 hours long?
I think every business owner would, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I love it. Like, my life at the moment, we've talked about this recently. Like, I just love every aspect to it. Yeah, you're trying to improve and you're trying to get like that 1% better every day, and like trying to be a better husband, a better dad, a better colleague, a better business. But like, I love the challenge. Like, and now you can see noticeable improvements. I think when you work for someone else, and for me anyway, like at the very end of my time at Bath Rugby, I felt like I wasn't moving quick enough. And now, being your own boss and being a business owner, you can move at your own pace. And I love that. Like, and I live for that at the moment. Like, it gets me out of bed.
Which is nice that you've been able to find that thing that you're very like. You work in sports still, so you've got that thing that you're completely like almost addicted to, in a sense.
Yeah,
it's like I love waking up every day and doing this thing, whether it's going to the gym or whether it's going to work or whether it's dealing with these football clubs or whatever. Maybe you can talk a bit about the business now as well, but like, you're lucky in a sense that you've found the thing that you're passionate about and then you're working in that thing as well.
Yeah, well, like, goes back to what we spoke about at the beginning of the conversation. If I wasn't passionate about it, I'm awful at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, my attention span is shocking. Like, my wife always says I genuinely do have ADHD without a diagnosis. Like, but when you have that golden mix of a passion, energy, and wanting to improve, and you put that all together into a job, like, let's be honest, like, for me, it's not a job. Like, even if I had a few extra zeros in my bank account, I'd still be doing what I do.
Yeah,
like, I love it. So yeah, very, very fortunate. And I've gone into quite a lot of schools and done quite a few careers talks, and I always say start with your passion, because whatever you're doing in your spare time, like, if you can try and find a job where you can combine that, like, for me, it's golden. Like, and you're going to be so much more attentive. You're going to be you'll have a lot more drive. And I think you'll genuinely be a happier person. You'll find a lot more joy in your job if it's aligned to your passion. So that will always be my advice for anyone getting into work now, is start with your passion and go from there.
And I think as well, like, remember, and it's very, very difficult for us to picture like the 75-year-old version of ourselves. But the way that our lifespans have extended over time, like everyone thinks about retirement and pensions as this sort of like, oh, I can be like 65 or whatever and retire. There is a possibility that by the time that we get to retirement age, that number is significantly higher. So when you set out in the workplace, or even today, like I'm 34, that means that I've got at least 30 years doing the job that I'm doing before I retire. At least, because by the time that I come to retire, that number might be 85. You just don't know. So you've got to assume that you're doing that for maybe another 50 years. And that is a scary thought. The job that I'm doing today, could I continue doing this for another 50 years of my life? Is it a tool to be able to earn some money to then get out of this completely? Or do I just want to enjoy it every single day? You do, I do. Many people that I'm surrounded by love the job that they do. And I can see myself doing the job that I do until the day I die. Like in an ideal world, I'll just continue working forever. Like, because I love it, because I enjoy.
Do you know people that hate their job as well?
Yeah. Well, like my dad, for example, the majority of his life, he's not enjoyed the job that he does.
Yeah,
and it's a real shame if he's listening to this. He is a very gifted musician. I don't know if he could have made a career in music, but if somebody was having this conversation with him as a 20-something-year-old saying, follow your passion, that would have been his passion.
Yeah.
Football when he was younger.
So do you think it's a confidence thing?
I think that there are a number of external factors that influence us. I was definitely influenced as a younger person by people that I'd trusted, like my parents, for example. I set out to be a lawyer in my younger days. I was above average, like intellect in school, like in the top sets and that sort of stuff. So it was like, okay, well, you're going to be wasted if you don't go off into be like an accountant or a lawyer or something. So I was like, oh, a lawyer, that sounds good. Like careers day, you see the numbers that they can earn. You're like, oh yeah, that's a good one. And I felt like I'd waste myself. I wasn't one of these things, but I had no idea about law. But all of my exams that I took were geared towards being a lawyer. I went to work for a law firm for 2 years. And I was like, no way can I do this. So I think now you've got a lot more information available to you, a lot more free information as well. That you can listen to podcasts, you can watch YouTube channels, you can hear some of your favorite influencers or whoever talk about this. So I'm a huge fan of Daniel Priestley, for example, and like he just is such a positive voice for finding your passion, trying to find ways to make money out of it. But if you didn't have that sort of positive role model in your life at one point, how on earth were you going to figure it out?
Because you took a big risk.
Yeah.
And there's some people find that really difficult.
Absolutely. And the further you get into that, the harder it is to step away.
Yeah.
If you have kids or a family, it feels harder. It doesn't become harder. It feels harder because you now have more liabilities and responsibilities. You can definitely be a lot more flexible with your choices when you're in your early 20s and you've got very few, and you can move back in with your parents if you've already moved out. All these things are available to you. I know I sat in front of successful entrepreneurs who literally were living in their own accommodation, and then they were like, in order to make this business successful, I need to move in with my parents again. A daunting task as like a independent mid-20-something-year-old, but I needed to do that to give me the opportunity to pursue what I want to do.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. So I know quite a few teachers, and my brother's a teacher, and he's gone through times where he's maybe looked at starting a new career, not enjoying it. And I know other people, like some of my mates, like really dislike their jobs, but don't have the confidence that they've got transferable skills to take somewhere else and put to their passion. And I think there are other personality traits in your position that would still be doing that job. Genuinely would have turned up every day, climbed. Yeah. And that scares me. I think you're totally right. Like there's so many people now which are trying to drive positive change, which is like follow your passion, like take calculated risks. Obviously, don't become homeless and not be able to pay your bills. But yeah, like taking the risk for me, leaving a steady income, a job that most people would give anything to be in. Like, and starting a business was the best decision I've ever made.
Really?
Yeah. And I genuinely will say this, if it fails, I'm still so happy I made the decision.
I'm sorry, I just want to interrupt for a second there, because people, maybe in the UK as well, we are a bit of a risk-averse country, but they hear that word failure, and there are statistics, something like majority of businesses fail before year 7 or something like this. But people forget about the journey that you had in that 7 years, right? So, and the transferable skills that you've learned. It's not like, oh, the business didn't succeed after 7 years, and therefore like you're homeless or you've got no money. It's like that particular business might not have lasted for more than 7 years, but the thing that you go into afterwards probably will, if you've learned how to sell something, make money, market products better, learn how to negotiate and all these different things. Then yeah, and then by this point as well, you might have the motivation, because you're like, right, I'm older, 7 years older, I've got family, I've got whatever, I'm going to do it for them instead now.
Yeah.
So there's all these people forget about this thing. They go, oh my God, like starting a business is risky. It might not work. It might. And even if it doesn't, the journey that you've been on is amazing.
So much, yeah.
Like we were talking before this started about what I've learned, like being in the podcast setting. And this didn't exist 18 months ago. I'm getting more opportunities because of this. I've learned new skills. I'm meeting new people. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like the benefits from it are amazing. Even if I stop the podcast tomorrow, it doesn't take away any of the work that's gone in and the things that I've learned.
Yeah. Yeah, so much good will come from it, like from taking risks, and a lot of risks are aligned to that like little man inside you that is like getting you to do something, like that burning desire to do something, and a lot of people suppress that person. I'm very lucky, my dad's a business owner.
Okay.
So for me, it was like a non-negotiable. Like I knew I was going to own the business.
Really?
Yeah. I saw the freedom and flexibility it gave him, and the lifestyle it gave him, that I knew that was what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Whether that's Thrive, whether that's I run investment group Bath with a few other people, whether that's another venture further down the line, like that becomes a success. I will own businesses now. Like I love it. That's my passion. But without my dad being my role model, so we talk about other people, like would I have left that steady income, a job that I loved? No.
Did he encourage you to do that?
So his advice to me was, I wish I started a business earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish when I had energy, like, and relentless energy and curiosity, like I wish I did it early 30s.
How old was he when he did it?
I think he was late 30s, maybe even 40. Okay. So he had a successful career in publishing, and I think he manufactured his own redundancy. And with that redundancy money, started his business and did very well, ran a lifestyle business. It gave him what he wanted. And yeah, that was the advice he gave me. And both myself and my brother are business owners now.
Are you?
Yeah, with my oldest brother, and then I'm the youngest of 3.
Okay.
And then a lot of people say, yeah, I can tell you the youngest.
I've never understood this. I'm the middle of 3. That. And I'm maybe I need to go on ChatGPT and say, like, what is the middle person syndrome?
Yeah, what are the traits? Yeah, my sister-in-law says that she can tell it from like a mile off. I'm like, how?
Yeah, well,
like, I don't understand that. But yeah, maybe I display youngest traits. I actually do see my youngest now and see myself in him a lot.
Really?
So, yeah, just like when you're first, you're cradled. Like our daughter, you're in a bubble. You give everything to them. You got no outside influences. Like you can just shut your doors and be there. By the third, like our house is like he could go missing for 5-10 minutes and we wouldn't even know. And he just does what he wants. Like he genuinely is like the one that I know for a fact when he goes to nursery, he'll just be like, see you later. Like, and he's going to go
very independent.
Yeah. Whereas Lana grabbed my t-shirt and like the nursery teacher had to force her into the, like, it's just totally different. I think it's what you portray on them. It's less about, I think, their like hereditary traits that they're given. It's actually how you are as a parent with them. They'll respond to that. Maybe it's a bit of both. But yeah, like, forget where we were now when I was talking about that. But so yeah, he told, so youngest of 3, Luke's a business owner now, my oldest brother.
Okay.
My dad he's just stepping away actually, and potentially starting a couple of other bits. And then Alex is a teacher. But yeah, he gave me the confidence to be able to do it for sure.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't have that and your parents were in a steady income, that's everything you've ever known, and you find a job in your passion like I did, I think I'd
be there for life.
I'd still be where I was, yeah. But I was also very fortunate that, and I've told my person who came in and replaced me actually at Bath Rugby, I was very fortunate when you're in a sales role. So I was head of BD, which was my business development, which was my last role at Bath Rugby. And I also looked after so I was head of BD and marketing at the very end. But the head of BD now, you're in front of business owners day in, day out. You're trying to sell to them, whether that's existing partners or your new partners that you're trying to sell to. How fortunate. Like, so Bath Rugby, for example, you got Dyson, you've got all of the partners that sit below that, whatever tier they're in. And you get to speak to them about their businesses. You try and find out about their businesses, understand what makes them tick, what's their marketing strategy. What a fortunate position.
Yeah.
Like, and also if they can afford sponsorship, like they're probably successful businesses at the same time. So I'm a big believer, like, just try and learn as much as you can. And like, they gave me confidence as well.
That's where I think we've got a lot in common there, because again, we're working with similar people, or like we're surrounded by similar people. The be curious. You said earlier on, like, I'm a very curious person, and okay, I work in wealth management. I'm looking after the personal finances of people, but that's not what I'm very excited by that. I wake up in the morning, check the stock market, go to bed, check the stock market all day long. I'm thinking about it. But what I really love is the people that I get to spend time with, and I'm very fortunate that, because I work in wealth management, the people who are my clients have got themselves to a level of success in their career, business, or whatever they're doing, where they've been successful in monetary terms. So you're just curious. You're like, what did you do? How did you do it? And I love just chatting to them. Like, we can talk about portfolios all you want, but what I want to learn more about, like, your career, like how it started off and stuff like that. And that's kind of where the podcast came from as well. The podcast is a passion project. I'm very curious and passionate about learning from other people.
What a fortunate position to be in. Doesn't that just make you think, like, how fortunate am I that I get to spend day in, day out meeting new people, finding out about new businesses in different industries. Like, it's, for me, that's like a blessing.
And then having enough passion to do that I want to do it in my spare time and invest my own money into it as well.
Yeah. So this is, I haven't talked about Investment Group Bath yet. So talk about being curious.
You don't have spoken about your other business, by the way.
So Thrive is like my bread and butter. That's my passion in the sports industry. What came off the back of a conversation at a kids' party, we've now launched an angel investment group in Bath, specializing in technology, and it was initially specializing in like quantum science and like deep tech. I know nothing about that, but for me, I was curious, and I knew it was a gap in the market. There's not an angel investment group in Bath. And now we've got about 32 members, all of which are successful businessmen or women, or have either exited or want to exit their businesses and have high disposable amounts of income. Like, what an absolute pleasure to be able to go around that room and speak to people about their success, but also about their failures.
Yeah.
And like, what would you change? Like, how did you get to this position? And I think so many times people are in those rooms and they waste that opportunity, and that they don't value connection perhaps as much as you or I. But for me, I was trying to speak to every single person in that room and find out about them.
So one thing that Julia said to me a few times, I can walk into a coffee shop and then like spark up a conversation with the owner of it and like get into some very sort of like deeper conversations about the business or life or whatever. But I feel like to get there, you have to also ask what some people might consider to be uncomfortable questions. You know, you don't go into a coffee shop. You usually go in there to order a coffee. You don't go in there to like start asking them about like how they started the business or whatever, or like what they did beforehand. But do you ask those sort of like probing questions when you meet new people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You just try and delve.
Yeah.
Like I'm that annoying person on a flight who speaks to the person you're sat next to. Like, why not? Like, you're with them for so long, at least be kind from the very beginning. And if you find out they don't want to chat, then fine. But I just love finding stuff out about people and understanding their journey. And actually, like what you've got in terms of being a podcast host, like just find, like, because also you go into that extra layer. You really find out about people's motivators, their failures. Like, you don't get that from an airplane, like journey.
No,
like
you might be able to.
Yeah, potentially. It depends on what questions you ask. But absolutely, I'm always keen to speak to people and connect. And I think that's why I do think that to be a successful leader, you have to have the ability to co-create. Like, genuinely try to get your team, your employees, to feel like they're co-creating the mission, the strategy.
Like empowering them to take those decisions.
Yeah, because you'll build closer connections, and you'll get more from them. And I think those authoritarian leaders who dictate perhaps don't get as much from their teams.
I think this has definitely been like a shift in leadership style over the years, where I think more people, because when you look at now, like the generation that we've grown up with has been the technology companies, and they're all a lot more collaborative. They're all a lot more work-life balance orientated. But like, definitely, I think our parents' generation were in a different mentality, which is like, it's all about your place in the pecking order and the hierarchy, and sort of like making sure that people don't go above their ceilings and this sort of stuff. So I hope that we are now in an era where people are more trying to empower people more. But I'm sure that we've all got stories of people we've worked with.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier on, actually, about working people that you can learn from. And do you try and play that role now as well, now that you've got your own business and that you're trying to be someone that other people look up to or learn from, and try and be a positive role model in the workplace?
Also on the other hand, they're probably better than me.
Yeah.
Like,
if you've done a good job of hiring.
Yeah. Why not use that?
Yeah.
Like, if somebody's better than me to go to that meeting, or better than me to look through that spreadsheet, or better than me to craft that new tour, why on earth would I try and do it just because I'm the leader? Like, empower them, get them to do it. Like, if you can build a team, so I know what my strengths are. Like, I can sell, like, and it's meeting people and trying to raise awareness of Thrive as much as I possibly can. Like, in every room that I'm in, how can I benefit Thrive, and how can I also benefit whoever I'm speaking to, and try and find that mutual opportunity. Whereas I know I'm not good at processes. I know I'm not good at X, Y, Z. Like, why not get people to actually come in and deliver what they're meant to be doing? Like, I know so many people over the past God knows how many years since I've been working, who have said to me, like, why on earth is the leader not allowing me to do this? Like, I know I can do it, but there's a process, and you have to go for X, Y, Z. Like, I just think, empower them, and they'll show you what they're really made of. And if they're not good at what they're doing, like, obviously ultimately they're not gonna end up working for you. But if you've recruited well, that's so powerful.
How many staff do you have?
So we've got 4 of us at the moment. There was 5 of us. So we've gone through, look, you sometimes don't make errors. I don't want to call it an error, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. But there are people working for me now who, like, I trust enormously. So a guy called Lewis Palmer, who's our head of operations, I work with at Bath Rugby, trust him implicitly. Like, he's very good at what he does. And I think that trust is really important for both of us. And he knows just as much as I do how we're going to make this a successful business. And I want to empower him to do that. And actually, someone that I've just recruited, called Cara, 22 years old, pretty much fresh out of university. I was quite nervous to recruit a graduate and somebody who's like fresh out. Again, going back to like me as a graduate at MCC, like, but actually get so much from them, like, and like raw ability and raw energy that you can mold and be able to like hopefully progress them to have a successful career, whether that's at Thrive or somewhere elsewhere. So you've got to try and be quite strategic and creative with recruiting for a startup, because you don't have big budgets, you haven't got big salaries.
But you also have to be quite ruthless as well, because working for a startup is not for everybody, right? So it's got to be people that all hands on deck, will work longer hours probably than your average 9-to-5 job, for example. And if people are not cut out for that, then you have to probably be quite ruthless straight away.
I think you've got to have entrepreneurial traits to be an employee of a startup.
Yeah.
You have to, because you're moving at, like, there's not a strategy, really. There's not like a well thought out plan that's gone through different iterations, and like you're moving at such pace that some personalities can't cope with that. Actually, like, would find it quite frightening and be like, this is not the way I like working. So the stage that we're at in our journey is like we're constantly changing things. Like, we're moving at insane pace, and I want them to have the ability to pivot quickly. Like we talked about, like the very beginning of Thrive. So we've got 2 revenue strands to our business. We've got the tours side of the business, and then we've launched the hospitality side of the business. So Thrive was built for the tours side of the business, all about developing and teams and players, creating that environment to enable them to thrive. But the problem with the tour side of the business, you're taking deposits 12, 18, potentially 24 months out from them touring. So you're sat on cash that you can't spend. And then obviously you're waiting for that, for them to travel. So that becomes profit and margin that comes into your bank. Whereas the hospitality side of the business is quick. So I knew from the very beginning of coming into Thrive, like very quickly, like cash is king. Like, I know it's the cliche saying, like, we need to change our business model. Like, we need something that's quick. We need something where we can, like, will enable us to make quick decisions and recruit people and to be able to grow quickly. So we launched the hospitality side of the business, where somebody could inquire on a Thursday about an Arsenal game or Oasis tickets or whatever it is, and you can be sat with that margin, with that profit in your bank account by the Saturday night.
Yeah.
And that is golden. So it was an example of us pivoting very, very quickly, launching another stream, like revenue stream, another side of the business. We will go to separate the two. And that, to some employees, like, talk about Lewis Palmer, who's the head of ops at that time, like operations people are very thorough and like really like following procedure. That's frightening. That's like, what on earth, Tom? Like, what? I came to this meeting wanting to talk to you about 5 different things, and you've told me a completely new.
And your ADHD has just gone in overdrive.
Yeah, and he will tell me, like, he finds it hard to work with me sometimes, and he informs my team of how I like working. And,
interesting.
Yeah, but we get each other, and I think you do need to have a little bit of that about you if you're going to work in a startup. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to be left behind and it won't work out.
But your learning curve is going to be very steep.
Yes.
Like, you're going to be learning all the jobs that are required to run a business successfully, but also learning from people like you who have been there, done it, also figuring it out. You'll figure it out together, right?
Yeah. And this is the best. You talked about podcasts, books, AI, whatever it is. Like, we are living in the best possible time to start a business. I've got everything on my at my fingertips. It's incredible, actually. Like, you think so about it, 30 years ago, my God, like, starting a business and going through your HR or whatever you need to do. Like, I use an AI model called Sintra. I think I talked about it the first time we met. It helps me so much, like, because I'm not a HR specialist. Like, actually, when I do need to follow certain procedures, it just helps me, like, straight away. And it enables you to have 24/7 employees.
That's crazy.
Which is mind blowing.
I mean,
that you pay
as a
£300
startup,
a year for.
That is that like how that even.
I know.
Like it makes you a bit worried about what's going to happen to the world's workplace, because it is going to change rapidly. Like you said, if you can spend £300 a year on something that works 24/7, probably reduces your errors and that sort of stuff.
And I would say we're using it to about 10% of its capability.
Well, this is the conversation that we had. Like you've brought an idea to me which I didn't know existed. I would say I use AI more than the average person. You're using something I've never even heard of before, and we're not even scratching the surface between the two of us.
Yeah, I know. So I've got 12 bots. I'm not using all of them, but like I've got a HR bot, finance bot, business development, sales, like marketing. You can use them in different ways. The more you use them, the more they learn about your business. So like I talk about it now, they know exactly what I'm talking about, what business it's for, what URLs, who they need to contact. But the great thing about the BD op is, like, whilst I'm asleep, they could be researching 100 companies I need to speak to about hospitality spend. And that'll be in my email the second I wake up.
To proofread.
It's incredible. Like, you can leave a meeting, send 4 bullet points of, this is what was discussed at the meeting. This is what I need to do. Can you send me a diary invite for tomorrow morning to go? Like, and also it will copy in the relevant people that need to be told about it. And I'm using genuinely 5% of it. Like, so I'm excited about how I can learn from like platforms like models like Sintra and be able to use them to the best of our advantage.
We are literally living in such a fortunate time, and you've spoken about like AI being a way that can help us and aid us, but sort of going back to the free resources that are available to you, like go back 30 years or whenever your dad started his business, for example, there would have been a few books that you could read. Like there are a few personal finance books back in the day, like Rich Dad Poor Dad or Jim Collins' Good to Great, or whatever it's called. But now you've got like access to Stephen Bartlett and Daniel Priestley and whoever your chosen, entrepreneurial podcast or YouTube channel is. It's just all there, and it's free.
Yeah,
and you can pick up all these little sound bites. I'm like, there's no excuse anymore, is there?
No.
Do you listen to any podcasts, read books, or anything?
So I was obsessed with high performance podcasts.
Oh yeah, okay.
Really, like I listened, and then obviously you can watch now. But listened to pretty much all their episodes from the pandemic until about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and then I felt like I needed to switch. But again, like talk about connection and finding out about people. It's unbelievable. Like these are super successful people talking about their life and their ambitions and their failures and their successes over a 90-minute period or 60-minute period. And you've got them whilst on a run or in the car where you would have been listening to music or a DJ spout nonsense. Like it's incredible. So for me, there is like a few podcasts that have really made a difference. That being one of them, like the episode with Matthew McConaughey. Did I tell you about it last time?
I don't think you did actually. Go on, tell us quickly now.
Have you read Green Lights?
Yes. I've listened to an audiobook, so not technically read it, but I've listened to it. Yeah.
So that book made a lot of sense to me. And I listened to him on High Performance Podcast, and it just, like, I never expected like a Hollywood actor. I'd obviously seen him in a few films, but what he says is just makes sense to me. Like in the traffic light system, sometimes he talks about the necessity for red lights and for pausing and to be able to just take a step back and be like, is that the right decision? I talk to you about how much I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm wanting to develop, I'm wanting to move. And sometimes just having that moment to be able to be like, okay, like, let's have this red light. Might feel uncomfortable. Like you want to be there, but just stop, breathe, think about what you're going to do. Like that to me is, that book was incredible. Like, when you read a book and just like, you just want to finish. And that to me was his book Green Lights of Atomic Habits. You read that?
Yeah, James Clear.
All about being that 1% better, like curiosity.
Yeah.
1% better every morning. Habits. So like for me, something simple, making the bed in the morning. Every single morning, without fail, get out of the bed, make it. First task, done.
Do you look at your phone first thing in the morning?
No. I used to. Probably about 3-4 years ago, I charged downstairs and it's made a big difference.
Yeah.
Just 20 minutes. I used to probably be on my phone last 20 minutes of the day and first 20 minutes of the day every day, about 5 years ago or whatever. And that's like, it's probably emails, Instagram, few bits of sports news. Have Newcastle signed anyone?
Oh God, it's Tottenham right now.
Let's not talk about that. But now just having that, those moments with like my wife and just having that breathing space, whether it's reading a book or chatting to her, like it makes a big difference.
So, what's your favourite ever episode? Does one stick out?
Matthew McConaughey.
So that would be the one with it.
100%. It just makes sense to me.
It's very philosophical, which you would not expect.
Yeah, and the way he talks, obviously in his accent. Like I've listened to that probably about. I would say I've listened to that over 10 times.
Have you?
That whole episode. Yeah. Have you ever re-listened to an episode?
I've got a few episodes that I re-listened to.
Yeah.
One of them is a really random one, but it's Jamie Foxx on Tim Ferriss, his first appearance on there, because I'm just blown away by how gifted this man is. He's a comedian, he's an actor, he's a musician. He's just like, he's funny to listen to. He's very wise. Like sometimes when I just need something to like, I don't know, like enjoyable to listen to, but be like, what an inspiring person.
Yeah.
I listened to that one. What else have I re-listened to? Eddie Hearn on the High Performance Podcast.
His book.
I've not read it. No, I've not read it. Should I?
Amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing. Like, so I read that when I was just switching to a sales role.
Okay.
I think it was out about 3 years ago. I forget what holiday I read it on. But yeah, it was all about, so his dad used to call him Silver Spoon.
Yes.
And it was all about driving that work ethic into him, whether it was his dad giving it to him or him almost placing that pressure on his own shoulders. He talks about his first job. I want to say it was window salesman or like just something like that. And he went through every single yellow pages, like just that work ethic, that desire, that relentless need to win and succeed. It's amazing. And reading through that and
be better than, because like he says, to be better than my dad, to have like better achievements than my dad is going to be almost impossible, but I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah.
And I would argue that he's succeeded in doing that. Like what he's done with Matchroom Boxing, to become a meme or whatever, like all these different things. Like
he's a personal brand.
Built a personal brand. Yeah.
He's almost a bigger name than his fighters now. When have you
absolutely.
When have you ever seen that before?
Yeah.
Like it's incredible what he's done. And his dad at the same time, like what they've done with darts. And like it's wow. But yeah, if you want to be a salesman or you want to become a better salesperson, read that book. Like he's very impressive. And the way he talking about that, waking up every day wanting to be better, he could quit now. Like, have an amazing lifestyle. Sell his shares in whatever business he's in.
He's now relocated to Monaco, like, which shows you actually the level of wealth that he has.
Yeah.
He can walk away and he chooses not to.
Just that wild ambition.
Yeah.
Like, which,
I want to get him on.
Call him out.
Call him out now, right now.
Yeah. No, it's impressive. Like I would like to think that if I was anywhere near as successful as him, and in 30 years time or 25 years time, whatever, however old he is now, to be able to have the same level of hunger.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, and you don't know, do you? You don't know whether you're going to have that same level of hunger if you've got that wealth. And I talked about the fact I'll always want to do this no matter how wealthy I am. It's very impressive how you keep that same level of desire. wanting to win. Like the successful people that we've probably all got very successful like friends or whatever. The successful friends that I've got, their need to win is relentless.
Yeah.
Like, and not just like get better, not just grow. It's like win. Like I want to be the best.
Did they play sports when they were younger? Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard that before? That like a lot of people recruit based on whether somebody's played high level sport.
Yeah, I understand why. There's a crazy statistic, and every time I've said it before, I've said it wrong, but because I've actually understated it. But women in C-level executive roles, 94% have played a level of competitive sport in the past.
Wow.
The numbers are mind blowing.
It doesn't surprise me, and that's because sport teaches you so much from a very young age. What else teaches you from that? Like, and I'm talking under 5s, under 6s, under 7s age, like to go and step up in front of all of your mates and take a penalty. Shows that you've actually got that desire to be somebody who's willing to put themselves in a vulnerable situation, whether they can succeed or fail, and it's probably 50-50. Like that to me, along with spending time with your mates, working how to be in a team. Where do you slot in that team? Like, how do you become a better leader? How do you lead by example? Like everything that sport teaches you.
Immediate feedback and like,
yeah,
like
it's almost like it's one of the best ways to learn how to be in business, I think. And it doesn't surprise me that C-level.
It doesn't surprise me now, actually, seeing so many sports stars, whether it's from Formula One or tennis or football, are now moving into business, whether that's as an investor or as a business owner themselves. And it's becoming so much more prevalent. Like I saw like Mario Götze recently has got like a massive LinkedIn following because he's now a business owner, an investor, somebody who I don't know, this sort of like cringy term, but like LinkedIn top voice, or whatever. That's a former professional footballer who is now converted into the world of business.
Do you remember Matthew Flamini?
Yeah.
He's a very successful businessman.
I've heard this story before. Like he's worth billions or something.
So he invested into, I want to say, a startup. I need to read into it a bit more. I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, I think there's a stat that he's like in the top 1% of professional sport when it comes to wealth. Like his wealth accumulation, not from his career, but from what he
certainly not from his career.
Yeah, from what he invested into and how he spent his money. And I think there's one business that became a unicorn that he got in very, very early.
And on the flip side of this, though, you've got so many stories of sports stars who have then gone bankrupt and those sorts of things, because you earn all of your wealth is earned in a 10 to 15 year time period, which is insane when you think about it.
You also, the high level professional sport that I've seen, you also see that they don't really have to lift a finger.
Yeah.
They have everything done for them. Like they don't even have to think about where their family are sitting on a game day. No. Because the team manager will sort that out. Like where the houses they live in, the cars they drive, like when it comes to top level professional sport, they don't need to think about anything other than is their body in a good state to play well on the weekend. And I think when you get chucked out the other side and nobody's around, your agent's gone missing.
You got to cook your own food.
And you got to do everything yourself. Like that's got to be tough. And like, we're not talking like when they were 18 that started, probably started when they were 13, 14, when they first started showing a little bit of talent. That, you can see how that happens.
Is there anything like the advice that you've been given in your life that you now live by and swear by?
Be curious. Just always having that side of you that is thinking about what can be done differently. What can I do differently tomorrow? How can I be better tomorrow? And I think if you keep that same level of curiosity your whole life, you'll find joy in everything, because you won't be disappointed, or you won't have as many regrets, because you would have tried to open as many doors as possible.
I saw a graphic at the weekend, and for the listeners, it's going to be difficult for people who are watching, they'll be able to see this better. But for people who are obsessed about something, their focus is very narrow. So like your channel is like this, and then like your all of your ideas are sort of bouncing between these lines. But if you are curious and happy, then instead of being this line that's sort of more like parallel, this is wide, that these lines that open up, and they are just like all these ideas are bouncing around in different directions, but to this huge net that's very, very wide. And I think that's what like being curious, in my view, opens you up to.
Yeah.
You're not narrow focused. You're open-minded to everything. Like, you know, your business started off with tours. You then decided to move across into hospitality. You're also doing the angel investment group at Bath. There's going to be something else that you do. If you're so like narrow focused on the tour side of the business to begin with, you wouldn't have started the other ones.
Yeah.
And it might have been a conversation. It could be a conversation that we've had today or that you have in the future that you're like, actually, that's a good idea. I could bolt that into my business, or I could run with this and start this. But you've got to be able to be curious.
And again, it's channeling it in the right way.
Yeah.
Because you can be curious, but be very naive. And it's channeling it in the right way and understanding that listening is very important about being curious. Like, there's no point of me speaking to somebody who's been a leader in their field and is massively successful at what they do if I'm going to think about, what can I get out of that conversation?
Yeah.
How can I angle that conversation? Listen to them. Like, and then try to understand what they're saying. And that's what I've learned over the course of my career, because I think, like I said, from the very start, I think I was naively curious. Everything was amazing.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yes. And I love meeting people like that now, because I think I can help them get to where I am a lot quicker than I did.
That's interesting.
I failed a lot. And there were things I explored that I shouldn't have and wasted time and energy on. Whereas now it's trying to pick and choose that a lot more, in a much better way.
Before we finish, I've got 2 questions. What's been your biggest motivation along your like life or your business journey?
Across everything. So my motivation is that my wife and my children will be proud of what I do. So they will look at me and be like, that's my husband. That's my dad. Or my parents will be like, that's my son. So it's trying to make them proud of the choices that I'm making and what I'm doing. Ultimately, everything, I like it's cliche, but everything that I do is for them. My family, like I talk about it as like that circle of trust. Like everyone who's in my like inner core, like my inner circle, that everything I do is for them. Like, and if a decision that I make isn't for them, then I've really got to analyze that decision, because it's making me off tilt.
So someone out there who doesn't have kids, for example, do you believe that you've become a lot more laser focused since having kids? Your motivation is a lot sharper?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, in every single way, because you understand your purpose a lot more. I'm not trying to say that if somebody doesn't have kids, they won't find that purpose, but they'll find it elsewhere, in a partner, in a friend. But when you have somebody that you love that much, like your purpose becomes so much clearer. And for me, like I said, everything's for them. But I also believe like you have to focus on yourself first. If you're not proud of the decisions that you're making or yourself, who you are, what you represent, how on earth can they be proud of you?
Yeah.
So like it sounds selfish, and I think everyone has a element of selfishness. But if you focus on yourself first, so like my exercise every single day, that's a non-negotiable for me, because that makes me a better person. Sometimes it annoys the hell out of my wife. Like, why are you going on a run? The house is like crazy. What are you doing? Like, how can you find time for that? I know that I'm a better dad, I'm a better husband, a better person, better business leader. If I exercise, that's my escapism.
I'm going to be way more productive when I get home.
Yeah. So there's certain times you have to focus on yourself in order to make yourself a better person. But ultimately, yeah, everything's for them.
And the final question, and this is the one I'm really trying to actually understand. I think for me, but just sort of philosophically, but what does ambition mean to you?
Waking up in the morning and wanting to be better. Because I think long-term ambition, anyone can have that. Whereas actually the small steps, like you talk about that Atomic Habits book, for me, ambition is from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, you're trying to be better. And you're ambitious. Sorry, that was a bad way of explaining that. It's like long term, you can have goals, you can have objectives, but I think ambition comes down to actions. So how can you be better every day and wake up every day? And if you've screwed up, then wanting to wake up the next day and be better than you were today and put it right.
Do you have a way of monitoring and tracking it as well?
No. How I feel?
Yeah. There's something I heard on a podcast with Modern Wisdom, Chris Williamson. He does like an end of year, most people say, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution, but he's like, I'm actually going to review, an end of year review is what he calls it. And he looks back at the previous year and he's like, okay, he's got this set of questions and he's actually published it. So you can just like download it if you want to follow it. But it'd be like, what was one thing that I learned this year? Or like, what was one big achievement I had? And you're looking back and you're like, if I can answer all of these, then I've made progress this year. I have been better. And if you can do that like once a month as well, then you can also like analyze it in a lot more detail to be like, I think that I'm making I'm trying to be like better every single day. And there are days obviously when I'm definitely not, but I've got no way of tracking it or like seeing it other than how I feel or feedback I'm getting from people. And sometimes I think it's like when you're aging, when you look in the mirror, you don't see yourself aging, do you? But when other people...
Yeah. It's funny you saying that. I wrote myself a letter when I was about 23 to open on my 30th birthday.
Okay.
And I surpassed everything I wanted.
Really?
Yeah. But that specific year, I wasn't happy with how things went.
Okay.
But it's really funny how your ambition changes.
Yeah.
Like very, very quickly. Like, so a 23-year-old sat in my shoes at 30 would have been ecstatic with how my life had turned out by that time. But the 29-year-old would have been disappointed.
Wow.
So that's really funny. Like you shared something the other day. I saw it. I think I might have reshared it or liked it. But did you see that thing about that thing you put up about £1 or how it accumulates every day? Would you rather?
Yeah. Oh, the post on LinkedIn.
Would you rather 1p?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or £1 million? Was it £1 million?
Would you rather £1 million or 1p that doubles every day for 30 days?
So I loved that. And the reason I loved it is because for the first few days, your progress feels invisible. It's like 2p, like 4p, 8p. What? Like, so how I'm trying to use that analogy is when I was 30, like, even though I'd made huge strides forward and like the cumulative value of that was huge, like actually I wasn't happy because I wanted something quick.
Yeah. Or you were judging yourself to last year.
I loved that post just because it shows like actually the short term sometimes just isn't the most important.
Yeah. And for the people listening, £1 million or 1p that doubles every day for 30 days. And as you were saying, 2p, 4p, 8p, like that's, your first 10 days, you've barely made any progress. By day 30, it's £3.5 million. That number is mind blowing. And it's maths. That's all it is.
It changed so much on like the 27th, 28th, obviously.
Exactly, yeah.
But that short term, like, I reckon even if you are somebody 5 days in, 6 days in, 7 days in, they would have said, nah, let's go back to the $1 million.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So And that's quite an important life lesson. I pondered that for a while.
I'm glad it made an impact.
Yeah.
But that's compounding is like Einstein called it something like the eighth wonder of the world. And for me, with no experience before going into the finance industry of like investing and this sort of stuff, learning about compounding just became fascinating. And it doesn't just apply to personal finance or to finance in any way, but like small habits, they compound over time too. You know, there are so many ways in our life that you don't see those habits making an impact.
The progress,
but other people are more likely to recognize it in you. But in 30 years' time, my God, if you can be 1% better every day, because you're 1% better than you were yesterday in that case. And if 40 years ago, that means that you are, whatever the maths is, like 10,000% better over that time. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the progress you get over a long period of time.
Yeah, when you put that up, like, it just shows it applies to everything.
Everything in life, yeah.
Not just the fact you were probably putting it on about compounding. Like, this is what it's like. And
because most people don't actually understand what compounding is.
Yeah,
but it can be applied to so many areas of your life. That's why I like absorb podcasts and that, because I'm just trying to learn stuff all the time. I'm sure there is a limit to the amount of stuff I can actually retain, but if I'm just building all the time on the previous day or the previous year or the previous week or whatever it will be, then I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah,
in my view.
Consistency. We only talked. We could talk all day.
But we'll do it again. We'll do this again. This has been a great conversation. But do you want to talk about consistency now?
Well, just everything we've talked about, like, without actually saying the word consistency, everything we've talked about has actually alluded to, if you have a small habit that you give up after the fourth day, like, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Like, so making the bed. Like, I talk about that a lot because it's this very, very small habit, but every single day it puts you in the right mindset, and it's consistent. You wake up in a bed every day. It's your first task. Like, actually, I think that's really important. And that can be applied to business. That can be applied to everything. Like, consistency, like trying to keep a positive mindset, consistency, like everything we've talked about.
Yeah.
Like
trying to be positive consistently.
Yeah. So that can be another podcast.
Yeah, mate, I've loved this conversation. Jay, it's been and the amazing thing as well is that, like, you are a business owner and you've got a great business, and we've not even actually spent that much time talking about the business because there's so many other things that are important as well. That, again, like we talk, I said about the podcast episodes that I think have done the best have been the ones where you actually hear people talk about what they're experiencing, what they're going through, like things that they've learned. Because business is business at the end of the day, but it's all the other things around it, which is what I've really enjoyed about this conversation. So thank you.
I've loved it. Thank you very much.